Hello and welcome back to Crypto. Oh my God, the market's a pumping. It's also a dumping. The volatility is a thumping. It's so bananas. I'll put it on my shirt. I want to get into a little bit of candy that's going down tomorrow, which is the official DC meetup of the crypto bros. I think Kathy Woods is in there, so there's one non-bro. Let's get into it. All right, guys, we're crossing into territory as of yet unknown. It is both very bullish. It is simultaneously very scamish. I covered the exploitation age. I do think that is very much in parallel with everything I've been talking about, which is also the antithesis, right? Which is good regulation, which is good frameworks for building real businesses. So we've got the thesis, the antithesis, and who knows what we're going to get out of it in the end of all of this. But, well, it's a good time. Hopefully it pumps our bags. I mean, I'm not going to be so base as to say I don't want my net worth to grow. Gosh, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and it's all a bit crazy. It all starts with this confirmation that tomorrow, Friday, March 7th, we are going to have a White House crypto summit. Now, Trump's name is involved in this headline. I have absolutely no data or information that says Trump will be directly involved. Something tells me he taps the shoulder of one of his little boyos, Trump Jr., something like that. Nepotism runs deep, right? And at this point in time, I mean, we really need our youngest and brightest minds, don't we, as we contribute to this amazing thing. Now, here's a list coming from, I got this from Yawa Web3. I've seen this list going around, so I'm not really sure where the source is. However, it's been consistent enough. I did back it up through a couple people that I know that these are at least at a high level, some of the names. Now, we see Donald Trump. Okay, maybe that's a confirmation, maybe not. I really can't rely on the dude. But obviously, David Sachs, Bo Hines, I do expect them to be participants. Now, the other major list, we've got Michael Saylor, obviously our big BTC bull, Paulo Arduino, Tether, one of the most impactful players in the industry. Tether is by far the largest stablecoin issuer, the most profitable business per capita, per employee in the entire history of mankind, and just extremely vital to the liquidity of the crypto networks. We've got Kyle Smani from Multicoin Capital. He's going to talk about staking. Solana, Kathy Wood from ARK Investments. I don't think Charles Hoskinson from Cardano is actually invited. I've done some research. I believe he's not part of that, and that is bullish. He's a bit of a shyster. It doesn't make sense to be here. Anatoly from Solana, probably the coolest founder ever. Vitalik, I mean, if he comes in, he's a young philosopher king. We'll see how that impacts it. I do believe Nat from Ondo is an incorrect, a misnomer. Going to skip over it, but you've got Mark Andreessen from A16Z, Paul Atkins, SEC chair, so nice that we have regulators in there, and then two heavy hitters at the bottom, Brian Armstrong from Coinbase and CZ from Binance. Now, CZ is still under that DOJ indictment investigation, so that's all really amazing. I mean, I was actually at his hearing when they sentenced him. I was the one that live tweeted everything. It was a very fun event. And I know that he is very serious about figuring out a path forward. So again, you have Binance, you got Coinbase, you've got A16Z, you've got MicroStrategy, you've got David Sachs. I mean, you also have Brad Garlinghouse, who I think is becoming a very contentious figure right now. Brad represents XRP, and you've already seen my take on how that's exploitative. Now, as we move on, I think there's sort of a mixed message happening here with really the White House, the Reserve, and everything, because simultaneously there's also this entity, World Liberty Fi. Now, they're directly related to the Trump campaign. Their initial pitch was that they were going to fork Aave, the lending and borrowing protocol, and create this KYC lending borrowing thing for U.S. users, right? An above-board compliant way to lend and borrow crypto assets with U.S. KYC and compliance around it. However, they've really not been doing a great job. I'm extremely sus of this product, and I just want to say, if you do see them in line with any of this political murmuration, do take it with a grain of salt, right? He says here, Zach Witkoff, one of the founders, seeing a lot of people on X calling for an ETH representative in the White House summit. World Liberty Fi has been one of the biggest supporters of ETH from day one. Tap me in, boss. Like, hell no. Hell no. And why is because they really did pitch themselves as this lending protocol spinoff, but they just go around the industry basically having this tit-for-tat exchange. If you give us $10 million, we will openly buy X million dollars of your asset on chain. So the latest one to be added to this is SWI, and they're basically making this quid pro quo where if you fund World Liberty Fi, they will work with the politicians to get you in the strategic reserve. You all know my opinions about the strategic reserve. This is as grifty as the grift gets. SWI to this day still very, very centralized in its distribution. I mean, it's just an early network. You cannot reach decentralization in a couple of years, and I like SWI. I've got nothing to knock on them, but like, how the hell are they going to be in a strategic reserve? The only way you can get in there, in my opinion, is to be extremely battle tested over the past many, many years. Bitcoin's got 15 years of history behind it. To start adding in these new upstarts that are competing really for the global compute, like, you're getting into centralized bag holders and just enriching the already wealthy. So it gets very sketchy very fast, and do be wary. This post is actually from Mike Dudas, where he says, I was originally optimistic about them and personally invested. It's becoming increasingly disappointingly clear that it's a pay-to-play scam at this point. And, anyway, it's something that's happening, and at least we're calling it out loud. Now, on the other flip side, we have one of the updates from the ETH Denver conference, which is that we've had the Ethereum Foundation that's been kind of guiding the development of ETH. They are extremely left-wing, people call them communists, but I think most importantly is that their primary function has been developing the Ethereum ecosystem. But what about the ETH asset? They sell it. I've talked about this in the past. They do a lot of selling of ETH to fund their life, right? It's not crazy. So this side entity has come into existence. This was announced at ETH Denver. Danny Ryan was one of the people put forth to lead the Ethereum Foundation, a developer, a very consistent, strong personality that has a good understanding of ETH and how it fits in the world. So he's now saying, put me in, coach, right? I think I stole his line earlier, but he's saying that if ETH is going to be represented, right? We saw Multicoin representing Solana, same with Anatoly. We saw Michael Saylor with Bitcoin. Ethereum is very fragmented. It is truly decentralized in that sense, and therefore it has a hard time saying who is the voice, who is our leadership position. And Danny Ryan has come out and announced this thing called Etherealize, which is going to be a partner organization. Maybe that word's not entirely true, but it will be in parallel of the Ethereum Foundation, and it will be putting forth the energy to connect institutions to the Ethereum ecosystem. Basically, they're saying they are going to be the voice to traditional finance. They're going to go out and evangelize Ethereum and all of its virtues and try to develop a reputation based off that. So we are going to see what happens tomorrow. Hard to tell what's going to come out of this conference. I will tell you right now, there is a lot of infighting in the industry about the strategic reserve. Everyone thinks that XRP and Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO, who did a great job fighting the SEC in the previous round, last 4 years. But again, it's a very centralized business. It's practically a stock-owned company. I mean, there's a lot to happen tomorrow. It's really hard to tell what the outcome is going to be. Could be good, could be bad, probably going to be shenanigans. And with that being said, good luck out there, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.